Welcome to ABL Hot Corner, the show that brings you all the good stuff from around the Australian Baseball League. I'm Boris Patrick. With me is Jamie Janga Cloden, and tonight we're going to have game wraps, an interview with Adelaide Bites Travis Demerit, and a bit of a chat about the league in general. Janga.
Yes.
Series review. Let's kick it off with the Melbourne Aces versus the Brisbane Bandits.
Up in Brisbane, yeah, no worries. Well, the pitching was all right for Brisbane, but it was the bats that did all the talking in their home series, and they went on to take it 3-1. Games 1 and 4 both went to extras with Game 1. For those that watched it, would have seen probably be up there as the game of the season so far.
Fantastic game, wasn't it?
Phenomenal, yeah. So onto that one, Rick Teasley, he was the Bandit starter, and Joe Vavra handed the ball to Matthew Larkins for Melbourne, and the two hurlers proceeded to go on and have a fight out of pitches duel that saw the home side take a lead with a bit of help from the bullpen, took a lead into the ninth, and handed over to Ryan Searle.
Things all went a bit crazy.
They did. The normally lights out Ryan Searle this year. He entered the game to close it out, and basically it all unravelled right in front of him. He got it to 2 out with a runner on first. An error allowed Mike Hill to reach, and then Nicholas Rossell walked to load the bases. Tanner Vavra came up and singled to score a couple. So that tied it up just like that, really without even realising what was going on. Suddenly we had a tied ball game, and then sent it into the 10th, and another 3 runs to the Aces then. So they looked like they had it sewn up.
Would have been like beauty. Here we go.
Yeah, well,
Aces, love and life.
Virgil Vasquez,
because we got Virgil. Life's good.
He's been as lights out as Searle has been. So the two dominant closers going head to head. But however, Virgil came in, and in that 10th, Mitch Nielsen led off with a triple. It's not a bad start. That was followed by a double to Donald Lutz, who we spoke about last week.
Yep, Lutzy.
They need him firing, and he did on this occasion right when it was needed. So he came in. Max Tissenbaum had a single. Suddenly things were on a roll.
Yep.
And Soupy Campbell crushed a double to right field. He tied the game up right there and then. Braylon Jackson got drilled. Riley Unroe, he got to be the hero. Base hit to walk it off, and the celebrations were amazing. It was some real passion on
the crowd was
the
going nuts.
Yeah.
The boys were going nuts.
Players were jumping around everywhere. It was a great scene. So that really got Brisbane off to a rolling start for the series. Game 2, they did keep it rolling, 12-3 win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the doubleheader started on Saturday with it was one-sided for the whole game. Jason Jarvis, the Giants farmman, he threw Giants.
We're ripping the Giants tonight.
Yes.
We are, yeah.
He threw 7 very strong innings for the complete game win, and the bats pounded up 13 hits, 12 runs.
Tissenbaum on it again. Boy,
yeah.
Maxie.
Yeah, so he had three hits. Riley Unroe had another 3 hits as well, and Nielsen and Sutherland, as well as Big Double X, hit home runs as well.
Yeah,
So it's
another big series from Nielsen. He's been very, very good.
Triples, homers.
Yep.
He's an extra base machine.
He is.
Game 3 again was Brisbane, 6-4 this time. They got their runs early off of your boy Sano, and they held a 6-2 lead after 5 innings. So they really set the tone early.
Yeah.
Mitch Nielsen again, another 3 hits, another home run. So he's 6 on the year now. So he's chasing Kyle Petty, who we spoke to last week.
Everyone's chasing Kyle Petty.
And he's still trying to streak away, but Nielsen's doing his best to catch up. So 6-4 result there for Brisbane, and they were going for the sweep in Game 4, but Melbourne had other ideas.
As happens all the time. It's pretty hard to nail down those sweeps.
Haven't been to 2 or 3 maybe this year, but as I mentioned before, Game 4 went to extra innings again, 11 this time. Aces took a 5-all scoreline after 5 with both starters, Mike McGillivray for the Aces and Justin Erasmus for the Bandits.
Yep.
Neither of them at their best. When they came out for the 5th, they both allowed the first 4 base runners. Very similar pitching lines for the two guys.
Yep.
Both allowed the first 4 base runners to reach, so they handed over the bullpen after that. And both bullpens were good. They held it until the 11th when Trey Vavra got a solo home run off of Searle, who really didn't have his best series.
Yeah. Trey Vavra once again good. The Vavra boys been playing pretty well.
Yeah, they have.
A massive win for Melbourne. I mean, really, after that Game 1, they would have been kicking themselves.
Yeah.
And then to pinch one, sort of would have been a little bit of a nice flavour in the mouth to head home with.
Very much so. That game one was the killer. They really had that roll on going in the ninth against Searle, and that game was there with Virgil coming in to hold it off. So by Brisbane getting on top of that, probably set the scene for the rest of the series. That easily could have gone the Aces' way, but didn't. But they salvaged it with that win in game 4. And Ryan Searle now has an ERA.
Well, it's going to happen
Finally.
eventually. What is it? Lusty 0.4?
A huge 0.4. So he still continues to dominate, but just had a bit of a rough weekend.
Yeah. And the Bandits, they just can't keep him down, can you? That's the thing.
No, well, Justin Williams, he's was in the 2-hole for a lot of the time this weekend. He's just raking.
Yeah.
He's
Him and Nielsen have been fantastic.
And
Max on the weekend.
When you throw him in, getting some hits too. We spoke about it last week, mentioned before, Donald Lutz. If he finds his form, which, I mean, he's played in the big leagues, we know he can.
Yeah. Another tough out.
Very much
to,
so.
To pitch to for the opposing teams.
Yeah, so they're going to put up some big scores if those guys continue to swing it. And yeah, that you talk about successful teams have defining moments quite often in the season, and that comeback in game 1 could be that moment for Brisbane if they go on and take this championship, which they're in the mix to do at the moment.
They are, yeah, absolutely.
You'll be talking about that game for a lot of years to come, I think.
Yep, I think you're right. Well, certainly the fans will. They were excited.
Oh, it's amazing.
They're pretty pumped up.
Yeah. And from the Melbourne side of things, what do you reckon?
Well, Virgil, we talked about Virgil is a great ad for the Aces, but showed he was human and given up game 1. The Vavra guys continue to play very good baseball. Contributing up to the lineup, consistent hitting, clutch hitting, both guys. A Trey this week.
Yeah, that extra inning home run.
We're talking about Virgil. Maybe they got to stick him in the rotation because they got to try something. They're almost cooked, really.
They are, and
we're at the halfway mark now, and every other team's probably still in with a pretty good chance. They're not done, but they need to win a couple of series handsomely, or else they could be in strife.
They're giving up some early runs in games, so perhaps if he's fit and able to be in that rotation, maybe he's got to get in there and shut some teams down early.
Might be worth the crack, because there's no point trying to save games you're not winning. What's the point? So get him in the rotations. There we go. There was one really interesting thing that happened aside in the series on the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit.
We had a national anthem standoff between the Aces and the Bandits, where after the national anthem was finished, the bullpens for both teams stood out there with hats on hearts and tried to outlast each other, so you could stand out there for the longest. And it went to 3 innings of the game were played with these guys all standing there on both sides of the diamond. Unfortunately, the Melbourne guys didn't quite have the smarts the Brizzy guys had, because the Brizzy guys were leaning on the fence, so they had a bit of extra stamina. Melbourne guys were out in the sun without shelter.
Yeah, didn't plan well enough.
But they hung in there, did a great job, and then Logan Moon hit a bit of a line drive foul ball that scattered the whole lot of them.
Bit of friendly fire.
Finished it off for them, so that was pretty exciting.
It's good. Little tidbits like that make the game what it is, don't they?
It was outstanding. Good Aussie baseball stuff, it really was.
Good fun.
But Brizzy, just too good.
Yeah, basically they rode the wave of game 1 through the rest of the series, and they're a real contender.
They are. They're looking the goods.
Take it from me, one punch can be lethal. Thrown in anger like this, without warning, without any gloves, it can be deadly. One punch can end his life and ruin yours. It takes grunt to throw it, it takes guts to walk away.
Boris, the Sydney Blue Sox travelled down to Cooper Stadium in Adelaide to take on the Bite.
Right here, right behind us.
Right here. And you saw that series, what did you see there?
What I saw was Adelaide came out to a 4-1 series victory, and they were pretty sensational.
4-1 series victory, you don't say that too often.
Well, we had the extra game because of the rainouts in Sydney earlier in the season, so we got the +1 this week, and there'll be the +1 back in Sydney for the return series to make up those 2 games. So you had a 5-game series, and it was damn hot all weekend. Started Thursday night, game 1. Steve Chambers went 7 scoreless. Did a great job and defeated Alex Balog, who has been fantastic to date. But he conceded 4 runs in 5 digs. So Adelaide got over the line, and the offence was pretty much led by that man again.
Cole Petty.
Cole Petty hit his 9th home run, and it was all Adelaide. So Adelaide took game 1, then game 2 on the Friday night. Bite did it again. It was a tight game, locked at 3-3 late in the game to the 8th inning, and then a pinch hit 3-run home run from the household name Scott Quinlan.
Scott Quinlan in his second at bat. It was the first game for the year for the Bite. Ever.
Unbelievable, and just had the pinch hit, come on, hit a home run, 3-run home run, and that put the game beyond Sydney's reach. So the Bite also had a bit of a bonus. They got their first look at the new pitcher, who's 7'1".
Yeah, he stands out.
Luke Van Mill.
Uh-huh.
He's a big unit, and he came on, pitcher scoreless ninth, got his first save for the Bite.
Pretty convincing outing too.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Apart from the novelty of him being a massive unit, boy can pitch.
He's so big.
Yeah. So that was 2-zip Adelaide after 2.
Yep.
And then Saturday was a double dip to squeeze the 5 games in. Had a matinee at 4 in the afternoon. It was pretty stifling too, but 39 degrees for the boys, so pretty tough conditions. And then a nightcap at 7. At the early game, the Bite put up a 4 spot in the top of the first. This was kind of bizarre because it was the top of the first for Adelaide, but because they were playing as the away team, even though they were playing at home, because it was the game made up from the Sydney series. So yeah, Adelaide put the 4 spot up early, and Jordan Cowan hit a lead-off home run.
Yes.
Set things going. Tom Bryce knocked in a couple of runs with the double, and the Vulture was back. Tolsey was back, the Vulture. He was up to his old tricks. He threw 3.2 scoreless digs, and got the W for himself.
He's very handy in that role coming in.
He really is, yeah. Just steady things. And the Bite won 4-3. Cody Kursky came in to close it out and had his 3rd save. Now, it wasn't all good news for Adelaide in this game because Jordan Cowan, who has been really good in the lead-off hole for Adelaide and obviously in the field as well, turning doubles with Demerit. The boys have been doing a really good job on D. He dived for a ball and dislocated his shoulder.
And it doesn't appear to be look good for the rest of the year.
Not good. The game was stopped for about 40 minutes while he got treatment, and it was a pretty ugly scene. So it's looking like apparently not too much damage, but once you've had a dislocated shoulder, you're going to be out for a couple of months. So it could be the last we see of him.
Which is unfortunate because he's been electric. He's been
really
good.
A spark plug, and certainly all of us here at ABL Hot Corner wish him all the best for a quick recovery.
Definitely.
He's a very determined, driven guy, and I'm sure he'll do everything he can to get back as quick as he can. But you'd suggest that they'll probably be back with his Seattle Mariners back home.
He'll be going back there to get ready for spring training.
You'd think so. So that was a bit of a dampener on Game 3, but the Bite came back. And we had a crazy game in the nightcap.
Did we what?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Sydney scored 4 on the top of the first off Bite starter Daniel DeSimone. Had a bit of a tough start. I think he gave up 6 walks in a couple of digs of work.
Yeah, well, 6 walks in a 9-inning game isn't too flash.
Not ideal. No. But then Craig Anderson up in the hill, so you would have thought Sydney in pretty good shape with the veteran up there. But the Bite came back, straight back and scored 5. And we had a grand slam, or dare I say a grand Angus.
You may say that.
From Angus Roger, who hit a salami and put the boys up 5-4 after 1, so he had a 9-run first inning.
Yeah, well, he's likely to do that any time. He's got some serious power.
He has.
So if
he really has.
He
has been good this year. Like he struggled with injury last year, but I think very important for the Bite. And he had a big weekend, and that was the start of it with the Grand Slam. And then the game went to a slugfest. Reece Hoskins, who had a really good series for Sydney. Alex Howe homered for the visitors, and Connor O'Gorman added 2 home runs.
Yeah, well, his first 2.
His first 2 for the Bite, and very handy, obviously, to combine with Roger's salami. And with the ever popular curfew rules in place.
Doesn't everyone love an early finish?
Oh, who doesn't love a curfew? The Bite held on for a 13-11 victory.
Yep.
And that gave them 4 wins on the trot. Boys had to come back Sunday, and geez, it was hot again.
It was even hotter, wasn't it?
It was even hotter, 41 degrees on Sunday. But the Sydney boys came out and didn't miss a beat. They just smashed the pill, and I think they scored 13 in 3 digs.
The start of the game was phenomenal.
It was unbelievable.
The balls were flying around everywhere.
Yeah, it was just sensational. Poor old Will Lee was the recipient of a lot of hits off him.
Yeah.
And Tommy Feebig, who came in to have a bit of a throw.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well.
Yeah, didn't do too well. But so Bortnick, D'Antonio, Hoskins and Dean, they had 12 hits between the 4 of them. And this one was over pretty early, despite Angus Roger once again going Grand Angus number 2.
There it is.
The double Grand Angus. He hit his 2nd Grand Slam for the series, which is just amazing.
Well, helps pad the RBI total, doesn't it?
It does. He had 9 for the weekend, I think. 9 ribbies. And the boys came back to 14-9, but despite that, the Blue Sox held on.
Yes.
And got themselves a W to take home, the consolation victory, which is pretty important in the scheme of things. You're looking at the standings. Every win counts.
And you don't want to get swept 4-0 on a regular weekend, so 5-0.
5-0 would be pretty. They only because they swept Brisbane, of course, last week. And
it's
coming off that.
So hard to read at the moment, isn't it?
Pretty close to getting swept themselves. So a great series win to Adelaide, and Yeah, there's a few things for them. What about, obviously, Cowan's a massive loss.
Well, Cowan's out, so so that sort of changes things around the lineup. Tom Bryce got the razor out, shined off the dome, and jumped into the
Got
lead-off
the crow
spot.
socks up there in the lead-off spot.
Yeah, so which is good. I mean, he's a non-base machine, and he's got some speed when he needs it, but it also takes away his bat from the middle of the lineup.
Of course, yeah.
If Cowan is out for the long term, we might see GM Nathan Davison pulling some moves.
Pull a few strings. So for the
Find another
time
guy.
being, they've obviously got some guys that can, sort of utility guys. Mark Wick, who we spoke to last week, can play anywhere. He's played a bit of second base, bit of third base, so they'll probably use him.
Yeah, Corey Lyon's been playing a lot of outfield, but
Corey
is an
Lyon can
infielder
play
by trade.
Yep,
So
absolutely. So they might need to do a bit of juggling until someone, if they do call for reinforcements.
yeah, so that'll be interesting. But I mean, aside from that, they've like obviously having Van Mill in the
Party liaison.
coming out of the bullpen now, and it's going to be quite entertaining, I think, for when we're getting towards the end of the game and Steve Mintz goes down to the bullpen. He's not sure whether he wants the righty or lefty, so he has Josh Toles warming up on one mound next to Luke Van Mill.
Yeah, you got the
other.
long and the short of
4-footer,
it.
10-footer next to each other. So that's going to be fun for those in the Shark Tank next to the bullpen. That'll be nice and quiet, I'm sure. So
bit of fun at games.
yeah, and the Korean, he Chun Lee, I believe.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, so
He's no spring chicken, but
an
he
absolute veteran of the
Yep.
KBO over in Korea. But he came in and he looked like a likely customer to slot into the end of the bullpen there too. So
bolstered that pen with Kursky pitching well, and now you've got two other blokes that can fill that sort of middle innings.
that's right, yeah. So
And
so that certainly helps out, and obviously the other thing from the bite point thing is the form of Roger.
yeah,
A monster
very good.
weekend, and him O'Gorman with a couple of long balls as well. So
Petty's still good.
Good
So
signs.
they scored a lot of runs.
but then Sydney though, they've gone
Well,
from
for Sydney, the starters just didn't get it done. Like Balog's been awesome, and obviously they got very good starters.
last week
through the lineup.
all four got W's.
All 4 W's,
Yeah.
but they really didn't get it done this weekend. But that can happen, that's pitching. But the bite hitters came out and jumped on them pretty
They did,
early
yeah.
in every game. So it was tough for those guys. After sweeping the Bandits here, they find themselves almost on the back end of one themselves, but got one late. So they're now looking up at everyone except the Melbourne Aces in the standings. So they've gone from what we feeling pretty damn good about themselves last week to a pretty disappointing road trip for those guys.
And also, just another thing with the Sydney pitchers is Calvin Drummond came in and
He got smoked.
after being dominant up until this weekend. So
Yep.
that's possibly a concern that where hopefully it was just a one-off.
He wasn't the
for them,
Calvinator
but
this week,
no,
was he?
definitely not.
No, not at all. On the bright side for Sydney, Reece Hoskins had a sensational series, and he has been good all year. He's a very good hitter. If you watch him take his at-bats,
Yeah.
very measured, disciplined, and can hit it hard.
Well, you're right, and he has been good all year, but this one big series is what we've been talking about, and it's really boosted his numbers up now. Into,
I think he's had a pretty
the
bright
elite.
future.
Yeah, very
Just
much
watching
so.
him go, sort of him and Petty, I think, have been two of the guys that you sort of stood up and gone, wow,
Definitely.
these guys can definitely play. So all round, great series for the bite.
Yeah.
Gets them right back in it. Sydney, a little bit of work to do, but certainly not out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Adelaide Bite, we've got an interview with Travis Demerit coming up, which we recorded last week with the other Bite players, so stick around for that, and then we'll get stuck into the other wraps.
We'll do.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
Welcome back to ABL Hot Corner, and we're pretty lucky to have Travis Demerit here with us. Travis, welcome to ABL Hot Corner.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
to have
being
you on
here.
board.
Now, first round pick, it must have been pretty exciting to be picked up in the first round of the 2013 draft.
Oh, most definitely, man. It was a dream come true. You know, I worked hard all my life to put myself in the best position, you know, to and further my career in baseball. And, you know, thankfully God has been with me along the way, and He's blessed me with the talent, and here we are.
Now, you find yourself here in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Can you take us through just quickly when you get drafted? Were you like the AFL draft here? People, the guys have their parties and they sit around watching the draft, waiting to get called out. The top 10 or 12 or so are there live, ready for it. How did you spend your time?
I just spent it with my family, you know. It's kind of a moment I wanted to spend with the people closest to me, and you know, it was a great time. I was really glad everybody got to come out, and they supported me my whole journey through this.
Yep.
So I just wanted to be able to share that moment with them. It was great.
Awesome. I bet
It was great.
Do you kind of know ahead of time, like obviously you've spoken to some teams before the draft happens, do you sort of know when you're going to get picked in the first round? Like, did you have an inkling that Texas were going to draft you, or?
I've been taught. pre-draft stuff, it's a lot of teams. Well, not necessarily a lot, but you have a few teams that you kind of know are like very interested in you, and Texas was definitely one of them. As far as being in the first round, I really had no idea about exactly where I would go. I just know that this team was like very interested, and I'm happy to be in this organization. It's a great group of guys, and everyone's pulling for me, and it's great. I love it. Great environment.
Because just 21 years old, I mean, it's pretty. You're one of the younger guys to come over here play in Australia. Obviously, I think Jordan Cowan is only 20. I think he's pretty young as well. But most of the guys are a little bit older when they come over here. So how's that adjustment been coming over? Like, obviously, born in New York, you come to a pretty small town in Adelaide. How have you found that adjustment coming to a quite small town for you in Adelaide?
It's been quite an easy adjustment, to be honest. Everything is just it's really laid back out here, and I really enjoy it. I actually live in a small town now, down in Winder, Georgia. So I mean, I'm kind of used to like the small town atmosphere and whatnot. But I've been enjoying my experience out here, man. It's awesome. And as far as playing against the older guys and stuff, I've been doing that basically in every sport and all my career. So I'm kind of used to it. Doesn't really faze me too much, but I enjoy playing with the other guys. You get some knowledge, you get to pick everybody's brain a little bit, and they kind of have some advice and stuff that they can offer to you. So I mean, I appreciate it. I take it and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
do you feel like when you started playing in the minors, do you feel more pressure being a number one, like a first round draft pick, or is it just like you're doing your job anyway, so it doesn't really make any difference?
Yeah, I mean, once you get into the minor leagues, man, none of that really makes a difference. So, I mean, it's just everybody playing hard, trying to get to their ultimate dream. So that's how I look at it. The draft is a one-day thing. It's in and out the window, so you got
your team, move on.
Yeah. They chose you. Now it's time to put in the work. That's how I look at it.
Now you come over here from your season 2015 over there with the Hickory Crawdads.
Yeah.
Awesome. Got to be one of the better names in professional sport.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Now the big question I want to ask: what mascot have you got? What runs around in between innings, entertaining the kids?
There's actually they have a Mrs. and Mr. Crawdad. They ride around on one of the gators. They decorate it up. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Giant lobsters running around everywhere. They actually sell like some headwear in the merchandise store, and a lot of people will be walking around with the hats and the crawdads on top. It's great, man.
And you get a seafood spread after every game. just getting stuck in.
That'd be lovely, man. That's my favorite dish. I love seafood.
Beautiful, same. Well, you're in a good spot for here in Adelaide.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Have you had the experience of some South Australian seafood?
I have not yet, sadly, but I'll definitely make my way around to it.
Absolutely.
I have to.
Go down Glenelg there. There's some nice seafood restaurants down Holdfast Shores. Hook yourself up.
As soon as they throw sponsorship money, we'll mention them.
Yeah. Sammy's on the marina. If you don't mind, throwing something our way, we'll sort you out later on. So, being you're obviously a power and speed guy. You bring both to the table. Is there anything particularly you've been told to work on when you've come down here to Australia?
Basically, just being more consistent. On the offensive side, throughout my short career, it's been a lot of swings and misses. Not making enough contact, so that's probably the biggest thing I'm trying to work on here, and hadn't been off to the greatest start, but it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, so
plenty of
time left, and we're not exactly where we want to be, but we're playing good baseball, so we're pretty confident that we'll turn it around and we'll be there in the end.
Well, Cole Petty's already dobbed you in and said that you're going to hit home runs and catch him. He's already hit 8, so he's put the pressure on.
He's off to a good start, man. I don't know if I catch him. He might run away with that one.
It's going to be a pretty entertaining second half if you do put it that way.
The record will take care of itself, I think, if you do. So we spoke to the other guys about playing in small ballparks, quirky ballparks in Australia. It's a little bit different. How have you found that adjustment coming to play in some really to what you would be pretty bizarre and foreign ballparks?
I'd say the only one that's really been a little challenging would definitely be our home ballpark, seeing how it's just all grass. I haven't actually got the opportunity to play on an all grass field, so that's definitely been a little bit different to me. But I like it. It's just something different, something else, a new aspect of the game to take on. I appreciate it. So I mean, it's been a challenge, but it's been a fun one.
Having said that, your defence has been outstanding. I mean, you guys have turned some unbelievable double plays already this year. So you must, even though you're playing on a foreign surface, you have to be pretty happy the way that's going.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, I've talked to a lot of pitchers, and, you know, it gives them confidence to be able to execute pitches and throw it over the plate knowing that the defense has their back. So,
Yeah.
you know, I try my best to help them out as much as possible.
Certainly doing that. There's no doubt about that.
Have you come across some other guys from other teams around the league that you're familiar with from playing against?
Yeah, I have. A couple in Brisbane, Justin Williams and Nick Schufo. I actually was drafted with those guys. We played in some amateur tournaments before we were drafted
Williams
together.
is having a great season.
Yeah, he's having a great one. He's having a great one. Another guy, Riley Unrow, he's the shortstop on that team as well. So yeah, there's quite a few guys that are out here that I've played with or have some history with.
Yeah, okay.
So
is that fun to catch up with those guys? Like
oh yeah, man, I haven't seen them in a couple years, you know.
Yeah.
So to meet up with them out here, it's like,
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 what are you doing
yeah,
here?
what are you doing? It's quite a surprise, but yeah, it's
Their
pretty
team's
cool.
rolling too, like the Brisbane guys. They got a pretty good offense going too.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a really
yeah.
rough series, obviously coming off last week.
Mhm.
They haven't done you any favours because they just got swept by Sydney, who you guys have to face this weekend. So you know, it's game on. I mean, in Sydney, you blokes won 2 of 2, and you know the series it was pretty much rain the whole time. So it's a big one for you guys coming up this weekend.
Oh, for sure, man. We're looking to come in and take care of business. You know, we
Bit of home cooking.
yeah, a bit of home cooking, get the home crowd behind us, and turn the season around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be a good crowd out this weekend. It should be pretty exciting.
It's going to be warm.
I hope so.
Warm.
It is.
Do you like
I
it when
hope
it's nice
so.
and warm? Yeah.
Oh,
Get out
that's
of
the
there.
best time, man. That's the best time.
You'll be firing then. High 30s, I think.
Some of those Sunday games, they must be a bit of a chore when it's like 35, playing those Sunday matinees. You get pretty warm out there.
This past weekend was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was perfect weather out in Canberra. The first couple games, the night games were a little chilly, but that Sunday game was perfect.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
The Hickory Crawdads, that's so whereabouts is that?
It's Hickory, North Carolina. That's in the South Atlantic League.
So that gets pretty warm as well there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah.
hot there,
Yeah,
isn't
it gets pretty hot out
Yeah,
there.
okay. So you're used to playing in the heat, so
Yeah.
you'll be fine
Yeah,
down here.
it's I lived in Georgia most of my life.
Yeah,
and
so nice and
the amateur baseball down
steamy,
there.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, Ronnie, just getting into summer now. You'll be
Oh.
laughing over the next month or so.
So what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season? There's still plenty of games left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Adelaide, you know, still within touch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said to Kyle, you get a good series. You know, you win 3-4 in a series, you're right back into the top 3. And I mean,
Yeah.
you boys would be pretty keen just to show your wares this weekend and get some W's on the board.
That's the main thing, man. Just turning the season around and trying to get into that playoff push. You know, we definitely have the team to do it. Just got to tweak a few things, and we'll definitely be in there.
Get going, excellent. Sounds fantastic. Now, everyone out there, all you commentators out there, it's demerit. I don't
Demerit.
want anyone else
Demerit.
say. Nobody's going to say demerit for the rest of the season, or you're going to be getting an email from me and Travis.
Yes.
Okay? You got to answer to us. So get it right. Travis, thanks so much for being with us on ABL Hot Corner.
Thank you,
It's been
guys.
fantastic having a chat, and best of luck for this series this weekend,
Thank
and
you.
of course the rest of the season.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Thanks for your time,
Thank
mate.
you.
Good
No
on you.
problem.
Okay, so firstly, thanks to Travis for his time for that interview. But back to the present now, in the Giants gear. Not the old
Taste.
Hawaiian Cubs shirt, as you
Don't mind the Hawaiian shirt.
so very popularly wore last week. But the last series, Canberra v Perth.
Canberra did it again.
Mm-hmm.
3-1 series victory for the Cavs, and they just keep rolling. They are just absolutely rolling.
Yeah, for sure.
Game 1, the boy was back.
He is back.
After a bit of a rough start last week, Brian Grenning went the complete game shutout
Mm-hmm.
and threw 9 strikeouts and just dominated the game. Cavs won 6-zip. Boss Monteroa hit his 4th home run for the season.
He's looking locked in at the moment.
He is locked
Yeah.
in, and Brian Pounds had 3 hits for himself, 2 doubles included,
Still pounding.
pounding it. And comfortable win. Like, it was just not much in it for the Heat in that one. It was all Grenning,
Yeah.
straight into it. So game 2 Friday night, Heat turned the tables behind the golden wing of Edwin Carl.
He's not stopping
He
any time.
is
It's so
another
easy.
bloke who's been just fantastic, game in, game out. He threw 12 strikeouts in 6 digs, which is pretty handy
Phenomenal.
going.
Yeah.
Phenomenal effort. Conceded just a 1 earned run. The Heat got value with only with 5 runs on just 6 hits. So
Yeah.
they got value for their hits. And DH Jack Turnbull was the only multi-hit batter with 2, including a double. Scotty Mitchinson nailed down his 4th save,
Yep.
Austin,
So,
and preserved the win. So 1-1 after 2 games. Then game 3, we had a game postponed due to rain in Perth.
No, I
That's
doubt
how,
it.
That's how crazy this weekend was. We had 41 degrees in Adelaide and a game postponed due to rain in Perth.
It rains there, 2-3 days a year?
Yeah, maybe. So they got pretty unlucky.
Yeah.
So they rescheduled to a double header on the Sunday, and that was the Cavs getting it done again. They won both ends of the double header.
A bit closer though this time
Yeah,
around.
4-3 and 5-3. That's what good teams do. They win the close ones. And game 3 was Steve Fitty Kent getting it done again.
He's been unreal.
It just seems to be like, just rolling on. So he's won his 5th game for the year. He struck out 7 in 5 digs and conceded just 3 earned runs. Michael Click notched his 4th save with 2 clean innings, and he had 3 strikeouts. And for the Perth Heat, Tim Kennelly
Yes.
hit a Johnson, but it wasn't enough.
He's so important in that line.
He hits him good, doesn't he? He was really good, but it wasn't enough to get him over the line. And the boss, once again, 2 hits, and so did Ryan Miller.
Yep.
And then the finale, it was a 3-run home run from Derek Lovelace.
He gives getting a lot of love
Yeah,
from
we
his teammates
actually
that
haven't
night.
spoken about him for a while, so it's quite nice to
Well,
get Derek back in
I
there.
think he drove in the first 4 of the game, didn't he?
Yeah.
All 4
He
runs.
was awesome. So difference. That was the difference. They got a
Yeah.
5-3 victory. Scotty Cohn.
Any relation to David?
I'm not sure if it's in relation to David.
We'll
but
say he is.
He pitched a bit like David the other night.
Let's go with it.
Yeah, first ABL win. Scotty Cohn was really good, and that's going to stand Canberra in good stead if they can find that extra starter.
Well, if you got him in conjunction with the 2-headed monster of Grenning and Kent, that's just
it's big, isn't
phenomenal.
it? Really big. TK went yard again in the 8th dig.
that was crushed.
So
I did see that one.
his 2nd in as many games. And despite it hitting Canberra 7-4, they out-hit the Heat. Out-hit the Cavs, but went down the series, and that gives the Cavs a lot of breathing space at the top of the ladder.
Yeah, well, they're streaking ahead now, aren't they?
19-9. We're at the halfway mark now, pretty much. 10 games over 500. No prize for guessing who the class of the comp is.
Oh,
right now.
you're gonna do very well to catch them, I think, from here on.
Yep. Another few comments about Canberra. Obviously, like we said, Scotty Cohn was really good.
Yeah.
And him with obviously Grenning and Kent there, that's pretty scary for the rest of the league.
It is, yes.
If he can keep pitching well. Aaron Thompson in the back of the pen. Big lefty, played in the bigs.
He's got the
Been
MLB
there.
experience.
He's got experience in the major leagues. He has been a little bit rusty, but he struck out 8 and 5 digs. He'll get better.
Well, he hasn't
and
thrown a lot, so he's obviously working into it.
He's working into it.
A real weapon come playoffs.
Massive weapon for
Yeah.
those guys. And the boss remaining hot. Another 4 RBI for the boss.
Like I say, you watch him. He seems locked in now. He's got a lot of big pappy about him.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
just that real big,
As a real
intimidating
presence when he
lefty
comes
presence.
up. As a presence, he's going to do something when he comes up.
Yeah.
Not so good for Sydney Blue Sox fans, because if you go onto the Canberra website and you look at his stats, puts a picture of the boss and he's wearing a Blue Sox hat just to rub it in. Haven't changed the old hat pick
they'd be
yet.
stoked with that, wouldn't they?
So the Sox fans wouldn't be too happy. What about the Perth Heat, Janga? What do you think about them now? They're hanging in there, but
They're hanging in, but it's the usual story. The
No-
offense
no
just,
bats.
just struggles. It's just continuing to struggle. We've spoken about it before, but the team average is still just 212. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna score you enough runs to win games.
Yep.
And I mean,
on
I'm
base,
284.
a Gwyneth Poultry,
Very good.
284.
Yes.
Yeah, very skinny.
But it's just putting too much pressure on the arms, and like Edwin Carl can't strike out 12 in 6 every time he goes out there.
Apparently he can.
And well, not 4 times in a weekend though.
Exactly.
And that's what they need right
Yeah,
now. So
you did right.
it's just not going to happen. We spoke about him already. Tim Kennelly, he's
Warmed up.
He's a very handy weapon in that lineup, wherever he's batting in the lineup, whether it's
Yep.
lead off or anywhere else. But he's
Hughesy didn't
very
warm up.
good.
I predicted Hughesy was
No.
going to have a big weekend, and I was completely incorrect.
yeah, he's still just
Hasn't happened yet.
no. Maybe the second half. Maybe
Maybe
he'll
so.
explode then. But
14-14 record, so they're at 500. They're still in the playoff spot at the moment. They're in the 3rd spot, but it doesn't feel like it, does it?
no, the amazing thing is every week we seem to keep saying the same things. They're not hitting. They need more help from pitching. They're still sitting 3rd with a 500 record.
Yep.
So it is concerning for the other teams that they haven't been able to put them away yet. And
Adelaide's,
they're going to be around.
Adelaide's now right up their clacker in that 4th spot, so
Yeah.
it makes for some pretty interesting games coming up.
Well, with Canberra being so far ahead too at the top, it means there's a real logjam for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th sort of positions on the ladder. So it's going to be a really intriguing second half of the year to
It
see
is.
how it all pans out.
So Canberra says catch us if you can.
Very much so. Okay, Boris, so we'll finish off with our flamethrowers and hot hitters as we usually do. We'll go with the hurlers first. Who you got?
Got to mix it up, something really different.
I'm not sure we've ever had this guy, have we?
Going for Brian Granning of the Cavs.
It is the Cavs?
It is the Cavs.
Yeah, I can't remember him.
Oh, complete game, 3-hit shutout, 9 strikeouts, 1 base on balls. Just dominated the game.
Yeah.
6-0 victory. And if you jumped off the Granning bus, shame on you.
Get back on it.
Hey, get back on it. Get a good seat because he is rolling once again. So he's my boy.
Yep.
What about yourself?
Well, I'm controversially not going to go Edwin Carl this week.
Probably because he's been in every week.
I'll give someone else a go.
Yeah,
So
fair
I'm
enough.
going to go with Stephen Chambers from the Bite.
Stevie?
He, like Granning, he threw Thursday night, and he delivered in a big way for his new
did.
team this year. 7 innings of scoreless ball, giving up just 3 hits. He now sits at 4-0 on the year with a 2.16 ERA.
He's
which,
been better than advertised, hasn't he?
Oh, very much so. Easily his best season so far. And he's really starting to look like the move down south is working wonders for him.
Yeah,
So
no, he's been fantastic. Good
so
choice.
moving on from him, obviously, honourable mention, more than an honourable mention.
Edwin
Carls, 12 Ks in 6 innings. Forget about it. He's lights out at the moment.
I'm going to go for not Rick Astley, but
No?
Rick Teasley.
Rick Astley would be good though.
Rick Astley would be good. But Rick Teasley for Brizzy,
You
6
start
strong
singing now?
innings. No, I'm not going to sing
You
it.
want to, don't you?
No, I do want to. But Ricky Teasley, he's been very good all season, and he had another great outing as well.
Not a dominant guy in terms of the Ks,
Doesn't give up runs.
no, that's right.
Shuts it down.
I've got a couple guys to finish off with. I want to go with Luke Van Mill, the big 7'1" giant. Came in and looked very, very impressive in his 2 first appearances
Yeah,
with a
he
couple
was.
of saves.
He really was.
The other 2 guys I want to mention, I think they're guys that we need to help out a little bit here in the ABL. David Price and Zach Greinke. Just
Struggling.
full on hard times.
Struggling for a bit of cash, the boys.
Yeah, so...
$200+ million a piece.
Yeah,
Contract, 30 million a year.
so I think what we'll do at all games...
Collection plate?
We'll put out a collection plate, and any spare change that you've got to help those guys out, I think would be much appreciated.
It's very honourable, Django. Yeah, very honourable.
I just want to get in their good books so they buy a few rounds.
Yeah, I think they probably can afford it. Don't know if Zach buys rounds though. He's not a really well-liked dude.
Not in Australia anyway, after his performance regarding the Sydney series.
This is very
Didn't want
true.
a bar of us.
No, absolutely.
Okay, take him out. I'm just going with David Price then as
All
an
right,
honourable
go to
mention.
Pricey. The price is right. What about some hot hitters, Close?
Hot
Who you
hitters.
got for your hot hitter this week?
Reece Hoskins is my guy.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Saw him firsthand down here in Adelaide, and as you've already said, very impressive looking hitter.
Yeah, he is.
Big weekend, 9 for 17 with a couple of homers, 8 RBIs, and his stats are starting to look really impressive and standing out in that Blue Sox lineup where they haven't had the greatest offensive year. He's a real beacon in the lineup.
He's carried him, hasn't he,
Very
really? I
much
mean,
so.
Josh Dean was good as well, but certainly Hoskins has been the guy.
Definitely. And you? Who you got? I've got
Gotta-
a fair chance on
Got to
who it
go
might
for
be.
the double grand Angus. Surely Angus Feroja, 5 for 12, two salamis.
Yeah, got to get a big
Just a
doesn't he?
lazy 9 RBI, just knocked 9 runs in the series. He was just lights out. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And good to see him smashing the pill.
Very much so. Honourable mentions, who you got?
Mitch Nelson.
He
You
was
know,
unlucky not to be in
Not just because I got
the
the
main
Mitch
list.
Nelson jersey, but because he has been all year very good and 2 home runs, 6 RBI.
Yep.
I think he ended up going 6 for 15 in the series. Really good.
Yeah, I'm going to throw Darryl George in from the Aces. I think we had him in a few weeks ago.
We did.
He's maybe tailed off a little bit since then, but another big series, 5 for 17 with a homer and another 6 RBIs. Just padding that total again.
Not shabby. TK gets a mention too. Tim Kennelly, 2 home runs, 6 RBI
Yep.
series.
And while we're talking about hitters, why not throw Cole Petty in there?
Well, he's hit 10 Johnsons now still. 2
Another
gives
couple
him
on the
10,
weekend.
and I think the closest chaser probably is Nielsen at 6. I think we
Oh,
discussed maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
So he's got a bit of a gap in the field. Really fantastic. Predictions.
yeah, we'll
weekend
finish
coming
off
up.
with them.
What do you think? Adelaide at Melbourne?
Yeah.
Are the Aces going to get it done? Or is it going to be Adelaide again?
I'm gonna go a split there.
Split?
The fact that it's in Melbourne, we'll go a split. Adelaide, it looked like they're playing well. It's going to be interesting to see how they cover Cowan.
Yeah, I think that's
it's
a
going to
big
be
loss.
a
Big
lot of
loss.
juggling going along, as you say, with Wick perhaps coming into the infield and losing that spark plug at the top of the lineup. Whether Bryce stays there, whether they get someone else, but probably won't happen for this weekend. So I'll go the split.
Going to agree with you, Clothes. I think it is going to be a split, and I'm not going to be surprised if you see Virgil Vasquez sort of sneak his way into the rotation this weekend.
I think it's waiting to happen. I think yeah.
Time to go. Time to go for the Aces.
Yeah.
Canberra at Sydney.
How do we read
The
Sydney at
Boss
the moment?
Monaroa series.
Oh, I know it is. It's the showdown. How do you read Sydney right now? They've gone from sweeping the Bandits with 4-0 on the back of pitching.
Then 4-1 down to the bite.
So
Playing at home, they're better at home.
yeah, Canberra are good anyway.
Yep, true.
3-1 Cavs.
Take the split, give Sydney 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I'm thinking maybe the Cavs are going to start eating some Christmas pudding early and it's going to slow them down a bit. And Sydney are going to get
It's
2.
going to take a lot of pudding.
I think the Sydney pitchers will all bounce back.
Yep.
And Reece Hoskins is going to just keep riding it.
Well, I mean, they've got quality starters there, so if they've got the guys to do it, but Canberra just don't have a weakness right now.
Yeah, go on the split.
Yeah.
All right, finally,
Perth at Brisbane.
Perth and Brizzy. Massive series. I got to take Brizzy. I just like the way they're going about it, playing well at home, hitting the ball well. I think 3-1. I think Perth will grab one. Well, I mean, everyone's going to pitch one game, so.
My thoughts exactly. I can't see that guy losing at the moment. So yeah, me too. Brisbane 3-1. We're agreeing way too much tonight.
And should I say that maybe Luke Hughes is going to heat up this week? Because if I keep saying it, then I'll be right.
And we'll all give you
At
the
some
credit for it
stage.
when it does happen.
Probably not, but yeah, I think Brizzy are the pick of the bunch there.
Yep.
Beautiful.
No,
Well,
I
that
think you're right.
just about wraps it up. But before we do wrap it up, a couple of shout outs to a couple of people that have been interactive and really helped us out this year, following us. I want to say to Stevie Yateman, who listens to us every week during his work. Have a listen. He has the podcast going, has a bit of a listen. He doesn't have to look at our ugly faces, just have a listen.
That's a
So
big
Stevie,
plus.
thanks for that. And Jess, who comes across every time to watch the Sydney Blue Sox play. She was here all weekend for every game in massive heat, and
Course,
actually jumped
fair
out to watch the GBC Fours play on the weekend as well. That's how keen she is for baseball.
That's way too keen.
So Jess Davis, you're a legend. Thanks for that. So follow us on Twitter, ABL Hot Corner. Get on the Facebook page. Tell us what you think.
Good or bad.
And, good or bad, yeah, we can take it. We're big boys. And we look forward to catching up next week. So for Brooke, Boris Kilpatrick and Jamie Janga Cloden, signing off. Thanks for being with us.
See you next week.